Dallas Sucks Week wraps up today as we get set for obviously the big Eagles Cowboys game Sunday afternoon. Final thoughts, previews, predictions, your thoughts, your predictions right here live on Trending in the AM in 30 seconds.
Fourth and goal.
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We are live, Facebook, YouTube. You know the drill. It's free to do it. Hit those like, share, follow, subscribe buttons. Whatever buttons you see on your screen, you hit them, you smash them, and you help bring more people in to the best morning show in the area, Trending in the AM, the only show where your opinions actually matter. And your opinions matter even more than normal today as we get ready to wrap up Dallas Sucks Week. We're concluding it, our final preview, our final predictions as the Eagles Sunday will go to battle against the hated Dallas Cowboys. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, as always, here on Trending in the AM. You can shoot me a follow on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge. Greatly would appreciate that as well. Good morning, Adam. Dallas sucks. They do. I hope so. I hope they do. I'm not gonna lie. I feel very ill prepared for today's show. I don't know why. So I'm going to be relying heavily on the comments and opinions and predictions of you, the listeners, today, because I don't know why. I've said all I've got to say all week long about Dallas sucking. I'm kind of over the nitty gritty of this week. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready for Sunday for the game. I don't know why, but I have too much confidence going into Sunday and Dallas Eagles matchup. I don't know why. It's a Dallas game. It's an Eagles Cowboys rivalry game. Both teams fighting for divisional rankings, for conference rankings, for everything. Two teams that have lofty expectations. Yet as of this moment, 8:03 in the morning on Friday, a couple days before kickoff, I feel too confident, and I'm scared about that. I'm not sure why I have. So I had less confidence of this Eagles team going in last week against the Washington Commanders than I do right now. And to me, that's kind of sort of scary. Like we shouldn't have confidence on Eagles Cowboys week. We should. It's a hard fought game. It's a team that we have struggled to beat recently excessively. But yet I'm walking into this show today and I'm walking into Sunday with this feeling that we got this. And I'm not sure why I feel like that. It's going Teresa, thank you for checking in. It's going to be a close game by 3. Go Eagles, baby. Let's do this Sunday. Make it 8-1. Yeah, okay. And so yes, I'm saying I feel eerily confident going into an Eagles Cowboys game. It doesn't mean I think it's going to be a blowout. I agree. I think it's going to be close. I've got my 4 predictions written down here, and 3 of them are 4-point or less predictions. So I agree it's going to be a close game for sure. Um, I just think the Eagles have a little bit more confidence, a little bit more want and will to win, a little bit more of the intangibles. And I think that there is why I'm so confident going into it. I'm confident going into a game because I know it's going to be close. And when a game, when a football game is going to be close, who would you rather as your quarterback at that point, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts? Who would you rather your coach in a close football game to make sure you are prepared for battle, Mike McCarthy or Nick Sirianni? The intangibles of the two teams, like you can go up and down who's got the better linebackers, who's got the better running backs, offensive line, what key matchups are going to happen where. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty in an Eagles-Cowboys game, it comes down to intangibles. And the Eagles win intangibles over pretty much every single team in the NFL, in my opinion. And that's what's going to separate them on Sunday. An 8-1 week would feel insanely awesome. Go Birds. Um, and that really, Peanut goes back to my point yesterday about being, you know, this being a must-win game for the Eagles. You want them to go into their bye week 8-1. You do not want the Eagles to lose this game going 7-2 into the bye week, having Kansas City and whatnot right out of the bye in that juggernaut of a schedule. You need this win. More than any win of the season, beating Dallas going into the bye week versus losing to Dallas going to the bye week changes the mentality of this team for the next stretch of the schedule. It really does. And without a shadow of a doubt, I choose my coaches, my players, and my quarterback. Are they yours? Do you own them, Peanut? I'm not sure if they're yours or not, but I get what you're saying, without a shadow of a doubt. Look, the intangibles will win out in the end. I need a lot of coffee today. The intangibles will win out in the end, and that is why I feel so confident. And I shouldn't feel confident. I really don't think so. Oh my God, much appreciated, Adam. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Go get some Wawa coffee. I'll just Wawa deliver right now, because I might need more very, very soon. But thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Um, I'm going to use that money to put a parlay on the Eagles game, probably. Uh, keep it climbing. That's what you want. You want this team to keep climbing. You want this team to keep pushing forward. You want this team to keep the momentum going. And there's just something about winning and losing going into the bye week that could change the momentum of a season so massively. And it just makes it so much more important this week. It really, really does. There's lots of other things too. The intangibles, the maturity, all that kind of stuff. And we've seen it change so much, even in the last year or two with this Eagles team. Like I put a picture in the thumbnail of the show today of Nick Sirianni wearing his Dallas Sucks shirt from a few years ago. You know, you don't see. We're going to use the term "poking the bear" because that's what Jerry Jones used this week, talking about the Eagles and stuff like that. And you don't want to poke the bear, and that's what they said about the Eagles, the Cowboys. But you don't see Nick Sirianni doing that as much. Yes, he still has his cliche terms. He still wears shirts in practice and stuff like that. But you don't see him egging on his opponents like he used to. And you hear reports and rumors coming out there that the Cowboys were told not to poke the bear, but they still are. You hear rumors out there that the Cowboys wide receivers are laughing at the thought of going up against the Eagles secondary. They're laughing at the thought of going one on one with Darius Slay and James Bradbury and whoever else is playing quarterback. And let me be honest with you, you're poking the bear. And I've been looking. I feel ill prepared, but I was doing some read up on some stats and some box scores of this team going over the last couple of weeks. The Dallas Cowboys. I don't understand why the Cowboys wide receivers should feel so confident going against the Eagles secondary, because outside of CeeDee Lamb, there are no wide receivers on the Dallas Cowboys. How awkward was Dak's "pour some honey on me" comment? Dude, is a weird dude. It was. Jerry Jones says, "Don't poke the bear," and Dak Prescott comes out and says, "Pour honey on me." I mean, I don't know what you're saying there. I don't know what you're thinking there, Dak. I mean, when you're going up, and I know this will be the first time I think we got Dak versus Jalen Hurts, but Dak has had some good games against the Eagles, and he's had some bad games against the Eagles, and he's missed some games against the Eagles. But when you're going up against this Eagles defense and this pass rush that the Eagles have, although they lead the league in almost sacks, why would you instigate anything against the Philadelphia Eagles? Like I just don't understand why Dak would say that. Why the Cowboys wide receivers would try to egg on Darius Slay and James Bradbury. I don't get it. I don't get what their thought process as a team is, why they would poke the bear, why they would pour honey on me. While it's a completely insane comment to make from Dak, like just the whole way that this week's going and what I'm reading and feeling coming out of the media this week is that Dallas thinks this is a cakewalk. And I don't know why they feel so like I'm concerned that I'm so confident, but I'm just a fan. I'm just an idiot that sits on YouTube every single morning and talks with you crazy people every single morning. Like I don't understand why they would feel so confident because they shouldn't. Neither team should feel confident. We know it's going to be a hard fought game. I saw the Cowboys players were making fun of the Eagles. They were making fun of the secondary. And let me tell you something, Adam. Let me pull it up here. I got it on another screen here. Where is it? Da, 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 da. Yeah, so here it is. I mean, they definitely pass the ball way more than they run the ball, Dallas. And yes, CeeDee Lamb is a very good wide receiver. He's got 46 catches, 633 yards, 3 touchdowns on the year. Their next top wide receiver is their tight end Jake Ferguson with 25. Their other wide receivers, Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks, have less than 40 catches combined. Like that's not good. Like they don't have like are we scared of Michael Gallup and his 20 catches this year? Are we scared of Brandon Cooks who's got 16 catches on the season? Like no, not at all. So it's basically I'm not sure why they're so let's fire up the Eagles secondary because all the Eagles secondary has to do is stop CeeDee Lamb. Now that's easier or that's harder. It's not as easy as it sounds. It ain't easy to stop CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best wide receivers. But all this talk this week is that CeeDee Lamb is actually better than AJ Brown. First and foremost, AJ Brown's month of October is bigger and stronger number wise than CeeDee Lamb's entire season. Let's just get that out of the way first and foremost. And Darius Slay, while he hasn't had the season he had last year, if you really break down the analytical numbers, he personally hasn't been that bad this year. James Bradbury, he's given up some big plays, but he's also bounced around from the outside to the slot, back to the outside, back to the slot. Avonte Maddox has gone down. Braden Robbie is still not playing this week. So we're going to have a combination of Sidney Brown, Eli Ricks, and whoever else in the slot. I think this is the week where you don't see Darius Slay just stay on one side and James Bradbury just stay on the other side. This is a type of week where Darius Slay or James Bradbury will be on CeeDee Lamb every single play. And yes, he's going to catch 7 or 8 passes. He probably will have 100 yards receiving. But as long as you keep CeeDee Lamb out of the end zone multiple times, out of the big plays with yak yards, as long as you keep CeeDee Lamb to like a Tyreek Hill type week like Tyreek Hill had against us when we beat Miami, you win. And they've already proven the Eagles that they could go out there and shut down big time quarterbacks. Justin Jefferson didn't beat us with the Vikings. Tyreek Hill didn't beat us. We've held down these guys plenty of times in the past. So why the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers want to poke the bear, so to speak, and pour honey on themselves is insanity to me. Yeah, they will laugh until Dak starts throwing touchdowns. When will Dak start throwing touchdowns? Adam is the MVP, Marshawn. Again, shout out to Adam. I'll put it up there. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Um, Better than average. Slay going to play with a chip on his shoulder. Absolutely. And Darius Slay again has taken a lot of crap this year, Peanut, and I'm not sure why. I mean, he been big play Slay all year long? Probably not. But last week, I think he gave up 4 catches for like 37 yards, and people are talking about Darius Slay being washed. He gave up 37 yards last week in a game that we gave up almost 400 passing yards. So as long as we've got Darius Slay on the field, we're okay. I'm not concerned. Another week with Kevin Byard learning the system and getting more comfortable with these guys will make us better. Eagles win by 3. Go Birds. That's right. Davey saying, I'm feeling confident. And that's how I start the show off, Davey. We had a little slow start in the comment section, but I said, I'm feeling confident. And that scares me that I shouldn't feel so confident. It's Eagles Dallas week. And even though I feel confident, it's not like I feel like we're going to win by double digits or anything like that. I feel like I shouldn't feel so confident, but I do. Off topic, Adam, but Sixers look great. You can bring up whatever topic you want in the comments, Adam. as the MVP of the show today. Um, the Sixers did look good. I did not watch much of the game. I let the wife pick TV. We watched a crazy, spooky documentary on Netflix, Till Death Do Us Part, the Soaring and Hastings murder trial. It's a story I'd never heard of before, and Netflix does a great documentary. I was going to watch 2 episodes of it, a four-part thing, and we watched all 4 episodes. 4 hours of TV right there. I'm fascinated with murder trials and crimes of passion and whatnot. So I watched that over the Sixers game, but I've seen all the highlights. I've read the articles. They looked very good last night for a shorthanded team, mind you, because they didn't have PJ Tucker and the new guys weren't ready yet. So very good game last night for the Sixers. They look fantastic under Nick Nurse so far. Joel Embiid looks like a rejuvenated basketball player. Tyrese Maxey is stud. Tobias Harris is playing so confident right there, right now. Love it. I'm tired of seeing the back of Bradbury's jersey. Yes. How much of it, though, is Bradbury? How much of it's the pass rush not getting home? How much of it is it that the safeties have been rotating pieces in and out for the majority of the season because of injuries and lack of good play? There's a lot to it. So, I really, really am good with Bradbury right now. I'm not as down on him as I thought I would be or should be at this point. And this is a statement game type of week for the secondary. The wide receivers at Dallas have been talking trash all week, and let's go. It's time to what's it? Time to nut up or shut up? Isn't that what is it from the zombie movie? That's what Bradbury needs to do this week, without a doubt. Interceptions, I meant. Oh, wait, when Dak starts throwing, he's thrown 5 this year, so he's on pace to get to that 10. For sure. Slay misses is fine. Mrs. is fine. Yes, Jennifer Slay. I'll just say that. I'll just say her name. She's the Slays are also fantastic people in the community and with the fans. She's always out there at the tailgates. I'm sure she'll be out at the tailgates on Sunday. The Slays are great, great individuals. Davey, Chuck. Good morning, Phil. What is up? Adam is right. Wawa coffee rocks, as will the birds. You know, can I say something? I'm an old man. Well, older than a majority of the people that watch this show. I don't think Wawa coffee is as good as people think it is, at least anymore. I mean, it's a good coffee, but it's not a great coffee. Like, I remember when I traveled for when I worked on cruise ships, and I'd be away for 6 months, and I all the 6 months I was away, I was like, I can't wait to get back and get Wawa coffee. Now, if I go 2 months without a Wawa coffee, eh, I'd rather brew my own pot of coffee and make a fresh pot at home than a Wawa coffee. I don't know. Something about Wawa in general. I remember when Wawa was just hoagies on handwritten paper when you would place your orders. You had like 5 hoagie options, fresh baked rolls, and great coffee and batteries on Christmas morning. That's all Wawa used to be. I kind of feel like Wawa, as they get bigger, continues to go downhill. They're still a convenience, but I don't think they're as good as people think. How many of those catches on Slay were on third down? How many of those yards came where he was not in the same zip code? That's what I look for when I say Darius is having a bad year. I get it. I get it for sure. And the secondary has not been as elite as it has in years past. There's no argument to be made against what you're saying, Marshawn. But I think there's a bigger picture at play here. And that bigger picture is that there's a lot of moving parts that either A, made them look better than they were last year, or B, aren't living up to their end of the equation this year to make the job of the secondary a little more difficult. Whether it's the pass rush not getting home, whether it's the safeties not doing their job, whether it's the injuries at slot and at safety. I think there's a lot of moving parts there that are causing these things, and it could just simply be that these guys have lost the step. It really, really could be. Of course, Maxey is playing like a beast. He's on the verge of a big contract. Absolutely, and I'm going to give it to him. I called Tyrese Maxey Max Money Maxey. I tried to make a shirt, but it got shut down for copyright infringement on his face or so. I don't know. I got all these T-shirt ideas, and I can't create any of them because I don't know how to do it safely without it getting shut down. But you know, what jerseys are we wearing on Sunday? I don't know. I think I got a Halloween party to go to on Saturday night. So I think I don't have time to get a costume together. So I think I'm going to go as Sugar Shane Falco. I'll just put a hoodie on and put a football jersey on. Um, Wawa coffee used to be better. So I'm not the only one that thinks that, Duck. That that Wawa coffee, Wawa hoagies, Wawa period used to be better. Their donuts. I used to love a good old fashioned donut from Wawa. Now they're just eh, mass produced and generic. Wawa plug needs to be shared. Great. Yeah, we're giving Wawa all this free press this morning. They should be sponsored. Wawa should actually sponsor the morning show. They would be the perfect ideal sponsor of the morning show every single morning for sure. Wawa pizza is also awful. Adam, if you have tried Wawa pizza, you are that. I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I would, but yes, always Fox's pizza. There is rumors that the Dallas wide receivers were laughing. Yes, we've already started this conversation. This is where we're going with this conversation on the secondary, talking about how they poked the bear. They put the bulletin board material on the wall for Darius Slay, for James Bradbury. The wide receiver, and if you think about it, outside of CeeDee Lamb, why would they do that? Because Michael Gallup ain't beating anybody. Brandon Cooks looks cooked this year. So I don't understand why they would even poke the bear. Because as long as you can stop CeeDee Lamb, and we have shown this year that we could stop elite wide receivers, or not stop, contain them, Terry McLaurin, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, as long as you can contain them, you can win. And that's all we got to do is contain CeeDee Lamb. Keep him under 10 or 11 yards per catch. Keep the yak yards from happening, the big plays. Keep them in front of you. I don't care if CeeDee Lamb has 20 catches on Sunday. As long as he doesn't have 2 touchdowns and 100 yak yards, I could care less. Because that's how you stop an elite wide receiver. You keep him in front of you. Is Brian Johnson out of the doghouse? Well, I mean, that's switching to the offensive category here. But I want to see it. I want to continue to see Brian Johnson evolve as a play caller. I'm not ready to say he's out of the doghouse, but I'm not ready to say he hasn't gotten better over the last few weeks because he has gotten better. It still comes down to the red zone, Davey. Brian Johnson has to figure out how to play call in the red zone. That is it. The in between the 20s, he's doing a great job of calling plays. It's inside the 20 that concerns me. You've got Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert, 3 massive targets. If you're not going to hand the ball off to DeAndre Swift, you better start running some plays and getting some jump balls to your 3 massive guys that can out-muscle anybody for a football. Everything used to be better except yeah, that's fine. Get Sidney Brown in there to lay a hit on Cooks, Malcolm Jenkins. If you lay a Malcolm Jenkins type hit on Cooks, Cooks might just not ever play again. Doesn't Brandon Cooks have like a concussion history right now in his career? I don't know. Sidney Brown, I think, is somebody that they've been easing along, and you're starting to see more and more of him every single week. I think Sidney Brown is the type of guy that but by week 12, by week 14, Sidney Brown is going to be a massive, massive part of our defense. I really, truly, I was literally watching right before the show. It's funny you bring up Sidney Brown there, Marshawn. Right before the show went live, I was watching some video clips that Shane Haff, and if you're not following Shane Haff, he does a great job pulling clips of players and routes and all different things, like highlights. He goes through the all 22, and he does so many clips, and he had a couple little clip of Sidney Brown last week and just what he does attacking the ball. Whoever gets the ball and attacking it, whether he's playing in the slot or playing safety. And I think you're going to slowly but surely see more and more Sidney Brown because his knack for the nose, his knack for getting at the ball, his nose for the football is pretty elite already. It's just learning when to throttle down and when to throttle up, and he's getting better at it every single week. So you might see more Sidney Brown this week, especially with Braden Robbie not being ready to play. So you're going to see Sidney Brown in the slot some this week. So there's that. It's just like the Braves poked the bear against the Phillies, and you saw what happened with that. Yeah, absolutely. You poke the bear, stuff happens. See, the thing is, though, with the Cowboys, though, like I pulled out my notes from yesterday's show. We've got 1 win in the last 3 years against Dallas only. We're 6-9 in our last 15 games against Dallas. We have not had great success against it. We've had great success as a team in the last 5, 10 years. But against Dallas, we haven't. which is crazy because we are a better team than Dallas. And all the numbers say that this could go either way, but yet I'm sitting here saying I'm confident that this is going to be a win. So I feel very confused on this Dallas sucks Friday about how I feel about this game. Johnson is not out of the doghouse. He's getting better meals and more praise. Yes. So he's getting better. And the last piece of the puzzle for Brian Johnson is to have a game where he has a clean red zone performance as a play caller. It could be this week. I mean, if it's not this week, we got some tough games coming up. We got to get into the red zone and we got to score. And we got to score easily. Whether it's Kenneth Gainwell, whether it's DeAndre Swift, whether it's the big targets that Jalen Hurts could throw to, he's got to call and dial up the right plays. Now, there's an interesting thing came out of practice yesterday about the offense. What is up, Mitchie Pooh? Good morning. Great debut episode last night on Edge of Philly Sports, my man. I caught a few minutes of it in between Netflix and last night with the wife. So congratulations on that. Interesting thing out of practice yesterday. Tyler Steen got a lot of reps at starting right guard. Now, Cam Jurgens, his practice window is activated. There's no guarantee he's going to play on Sunday, though. And Sua Opeta's been banged up and come in and out of games and whatnot. We already talked about how Tyler Steen looked good in his 6 plays. And all week this week, Tyler Steen has been slowly getting more and more reps with the ones. Is Tyler Steen going to be the starting right guard on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys? How do you feel about this Eagles team putting a rookie right guard out there in a huge matchup against the Dallas Cowboys? Now, me personally, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with him over Sua Opeta. Now, if Cam Jurgens is good to go, yeah, Cam Jurgens is the guy. The thing is, they don't have a roster spot right now for Cam Jurgens to activate him either. So they still would have to make another roster move if they're going to activate him. If he's borderline, you probably let him sit because then he gets the bye week to continue healing up. Are we okay? Because the red zone problems, you know what they're going to do in the red zone. They're going to run the ball with Kenneth Gainwell. Well, you need your best pass blockers or run blockers out there. Are you confident with Tyler Steen starting on Sunday? And I think it's a big deal. I think it's a massive deal, honestly. I'll be brutally honest. I think it was a massive deal if Tyler Steen starts because that's your future right there. And I'm okay with it, especially with Lane Johnson. If Lane Johnson was hurt or missing, yes, I would be scared about putting Tyler Steen out there with, say, Jack Driscoll on his right side. But as long as Lane Johnson is on his right side and Jason Kelsey's on his left side, I think having Tyler Steen out there, it will be a massive upgrade over Sua Opeta. The reason why the Cowboys are problematic that it isn't December yet, their collapse is still a month away. It's a fantastic point. I mean, they crumble under the pressure. But there's pressure on Sunday. It's going to be a prime time game, 4:25, game of the week on Fox. You'll have their top announce crew, who I don't even know who it is anymore. You're going into the link. Daylight savings. It's going to be dark and cold. Guys, can we go on? Hold on. Let me get caught up on some comments here. Then I'm going to go off on my daylight savings time crap here. Sidney didn't have his nose on the football in that wide open touchdown last week. Well, that is true. He was definitely in the wrong position. I think he expected help from Reed Blankenship, I believe it was. Didn't get it. But yes, always Marshawn to pull out those kind of things to prove me wrong. Eliminate the penalties and turnovers, we will win. Sounds so cliche, but it's true. And that is something right there that Dallas is a ball hawking defense. They create a lot of turnovers. They are one of the top teams in the NFL in creating turnovers. The Eagles have had a problem this year holding on to the football, whether it's interceptions or fumbles. We're one of the worst teams in the turnover differential category. It's time for us to start creating some turnovers, honestly, on defense. I figured Sidney Brown would be the type of guy that would create some defensive turnovers. But it is so cliche to say eliminate the turnovers and the penalties and you'll win. But it's so true. Steen needs to get his reps. And it seems like he's getting them in practice, which kind of leads me to believe that he's going to be – if you practice 3 days in a row with the ones, doesn't that kind of tend to lean to tell you that you got a chance at starting? The rookie has a chance to start. He's a He's a big boy too, Tyler Steen. Like, I saw him coming off the field on Sunday last week against Washington, and I was like, "Man, I didn't realize how big." He is a big guard. I mean, that's why I think he was a tackle in college. Like, he's got a tackle body, and they're gonna be putting him at guard. It's kinda crazy. Quinn will move Micah in the interior to try to match with Steen. He did it last week with success against the Rams. Tyler Steen is a massive human being compared to the Rams' interior O-line. It's so funny. I'm talking about him being a massive human being, and then the next comment I read says the same exact thing. So for once, me and Marshawn are back on the same wavelength here. Tyler Steen is a massive human being. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about how massive he is. Real quick though, guys, we've got 8 likes on YouTube, 4 on Facebook. There's 21 people watching. Please, please, please hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. I'd greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it if you guys could do that. It definitely helps massively. Steen was a left tackle and some right tackle in football, which is crazy that they drafted him to be a guard. They really did. A guard with the possibility of being Lane Johnson's replacement down the line. Um, but that's a Stoutland University type thing right there. Stoutland University type move. And I'm okay with it. I just didn't realize how big he was until I saw him walking off the field last week. And I was like, wow, that guy. You like them girthy Philistine is a girthy dude. I did say that once before. I like girthy dudes, didn't I? Nobody clipped that and embarrassed me about it. But yes, I do like my offensive lines. I like my trench warfare, as I like to call it. I love watching offense and defensive linemen run at each other in practice and do those one-on-one drills. Like, it just excites me. It does. I don't know why offensive defensive line play excites me so much. I do not fall victim to. Yeah, I get excited when AJ Brown catches a 50-yard touchdown, but as soon as they do, I go and I rewatch the play and look at what the offensive line did to protect the quarterback so Jalen Hurts can make that throw. That's just where my eyes always go. Steen has the size advantage, but Micah will use his speed to get Steen at a disadvantage. Right. And I get that. And look, Micah Parsons is their best pass rusher, and he's going to try to get after wherever the weakness is on the offensive line. But I feel okay with Tyler Steen out there when you've got Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey bookending him. It's not like you're leaving him on an island all by himself. You got 2 of the best of all time at their positions on his left and the right. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Tyler Steen versus Micah Parsons all game. Yeah, maybe Micah Parsons gets him once or twice. Yeah, maybe. But I'm not worried about a big picture because you've got 2 of the greatest of all time on each side. Steen doesn't have the ideal arm length to play tackle in the NFL. Yeah, we heard that a lot about a lot of players. It's kind of weird that you know these guys are so successful in college, but not in the pros because their arms are too short. We're talking about 6'5", 300-pound men, and their arms are just like a half an inch too short. That was the criticism, Keith, of Jack Driscoll coming out of college as well, right? I believe it was. I'm not positive. Can't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the same thing with Jack Driscoll. Yet they keep throwing Jack Driscoll out there unsuccessfully, and I don't know why. What is that notification on my phone? I don't even know. Anyway, back at it here. So anyway, with this offensive line, we're okay with it. And I think the other part of it comes in is that we've seen enough of Sua Payton. And what would you prefer? Rookie Tyler Steen that's got like 6 snaps, 7 snaps all year, or would you want Sewer Opeta, the guy who would you feel more confident with protecting Jalen Hurts? Who would you feel more confident when Micah Parsons lines up and that right guard is the weak spot? I'm going to attack right guard, whoever's there. Who will you feel more confident with? And I will feel more confident with Tyler Steen. And this is not even a set in stone that he is going to be the starter on Sunday. There is still a chance. And we will learn after today's practice and today's injury report when it comes out. We will learn so much more because you still have to find if Cam Jurgens is ready to play, they're going to play him. He has practice this week in a limited fashion, but he has practice. Then the question becomes who gets cut from the roster. because to activate Cam Jurgens, you're going to have to cut somebody. You don't have an open roster spot to activate him. I guess hypothetically, you could put Grant Calcaterra and his concussion on IR. It looks like Grant Calcaterra will miss the game. Jack Stoll might also miss the game. You're going to see Aqua Bowman out there probably for the first time this year, which is interesting. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming to get Aquaman out there on the field. So maybe Calcaterra going to IR is where you make the Cam Jurgens roster spot magically appear from. But I'm not ruling out Cam Jurgens just yet. I'm just saying that if he can't go, the Eagles might as well move on to the future in Tyler Steen versus going with what we know is going to be a failure in Sua Opeta. Send Gainwell to the gulag. Look, Kenny Gainwell gets a lot of hate on this show and in Philadelphia. Kenny Gainwell had a great playoff run last year, though. So I can't totally hate on him 100%. But I don't know what to do with him. You know that the Eagles love him. We all know that the Eagles have high hopes for Kenneth Gainwell. We also see that DeAndre Swift is the guy. And everybody's calling for more Rashad Penny. Everyone wants to see less Gainwell. How can the Eagles, and I think this is a really tough question to answer, how do the Eagles get the confidence back in Kenneth Gainwell? How do the Eagles get the fans back in Kenneth Gainwell again as well? What can the Eagles do? And I think there's one first very simple question or answer to this. Not have his first touches of the game be in the red zone. That's the thing. Like, they let DeAndre Swift cook for the first 15, 20 plays of offense. Then they get the red zone, and the first play of the game, he's not in the flow. So you need to use more Kenneth Gainwell at the start of drives if you're going to have him finishing drives. So you should have a complete drive of DeAndre Swift. Then the next drive, a complete drive of Kenneth Gainwell, and kind of go back and forth that way if you want Kenneth Gainwell getting touches. It drives me nuts when a guy like Kenneth Gainwell gets his first touch on 3rd and 8 from the 9-yard line. And that's his first touch of the game. Like, they've got to do something to get his confidence back. Because obviously he's a big part of it. If him DMing fans at halftime doesn't get him suspended, if him being an immature person like that does not set off a red flag and you're still going to keep him going, then you've got to, that means he is going to keep getting the ball, which means you've got to find a way to get him going. He obviously stole the job from Miles Sanders last year late in the season. He's obviously a capable running back. We've seen it before. He has just struggled massively this year. And they're not, that still is why Brian Johnson's not out of the doghouse, because they haven't found a way to get Kenneth Gainwell going. And I agree with all you. And he's got to go to the gulag, or he's got to be benched, and this and that. That's my fandom. That's my frustrations coming out. But Kenneth Gainwell on the flip side is still a vital part of this team. So you've got to find a way to get him going. Hell, I love DeAndre Swift. I want DeAndre Swift to be the only running back. But maybe start the game with Kenneth Gainwell instead of DeAndre Swift. Let him get into the game flow quicker. Maybe that's something you do. I don't know. What's up, Will Smith? Good morning. What's the topic? Just two. We're talking Eagles Cowboys. Dallas sucks week. Anything and everything on Eagles Dallas matchup, keys to victory, everything. Everything is on the table. Eagles Dallas. We've already had some Phillies knowledge dropped in the comments. We've had some Sixers knowledge dropped as well. But we're sticking mostly with the Philadelphia Eagles. Kenny doesn't Gainwell better have a bounce back game. Well, he hasn't had a game to bounce back from yet. Like a good game yet this year. He's a vital part of this team that hasn't gotten going. Just think of it. We're so harsh on Kenneth Gainwell. If Kenneth Gainwell could figure it out and get it going, this team becomes even that more deeper and much more dangerous on offense. Just think about that. Gainwell didn't have a great playoffs. He had garbage time, 35-yard touchdown in the Giants game, and was a non-factor against San Francisco and Kansas City. Sanders got hurt late in the season and in the Super Bowl. I remember it differently that he had big plays. Maybe I don't remember the exact moments. I'm not going to go back and dive for the stats of the playoffs right now, Keith. But the Eagles obviously have massive faith and confidence in Kenneth Gainwell. And if they're going to keep trotting him out there every single Sunday and Monday and Thursday and eventually Saturday, you got to find a way to get him going. I agree. Like I agree with everybody else in the comments. I'm not a Kenneth Gainwell fan. Haven't been since the beginning. But the Eagles know more than I do. Remember, I'm just an idiot that talks a lot. I don't like him. I don't like his skill set. I prefer DeAndre Swift. But if they're going to keep using him, they got to find a way. It's either the play calling, the timing, the usage, wherever it may be. Brian Johnson's got to sit down and figure out what kind of a play call needs to be used to get him going. That's what needs to be done. Gainwell isn't half the talent of Booby Sanders. Gainwell is trash. Look, Keith, I get it. It's a feeling across a lot of the Delaware Valley right now on Kenneth Gainwell. And look, Booby was benched in Carolina. So we're not saying that Miles Sanders is even that good. I mean, they signed him to a 4-year, $20-something million contract, and he got benched for Chubba Hubbard. Chubba Hubba Hubba, or whatever his name is. Like, just think about that for a second. Miles Sanders got benched after signing a $26 million contract for a guy that wouldn't even make our roster in Chubba Hubbard right now. Like that's the Eagles dodged a bullet not paying Miles Sanders. Obviously, he's washed at this point. Nick sent a bad message to the team by not finding Gainwell over the phone crap. It may have even woke him. Look, I agree with you, Chuck. I wanted Miles. I wanted Kenneth Gainwell suspended even for a game 4. Send a statement like, but instead Nick Sirianni said, the players get a few minutes to themselves at halftime to do whatever they want to get their mind right for the second half. We spoke to him, is what he said. We talked to him about what's important and what's not. I don't agree with the decision either. But on the flip side, I get what Nick Sirianni's doing. I think it's a teaching moment. That first and foremost, let's get it out of the way. Fans that think that they could just DM players awful things, that fans that think they could just say whatever to trigger players, hoping that they can get 5 minutes of fame because them triggering a player will initiate a response, then that'll blow up their social media account. It drives me nuts. Yeah, I might bash Kenny Gainwell here, but I'm not DMing him. You suck. Like that's not cool, not at all. So part of the blame has to go to the fan that sent the message because it's unnecessary. And the bullying that happens of athletes, and I know we've had this conversation this week already, and somebody said in the comments that players are just like celebrities. They got to accept that if they're going to be in the limelight. I get it, but man, have some respect for yourself and not send that kind of message. Like, what kind of a low-level person do you got to be to send a private message to an athlete that you're a scumbag and you suck and whatnot? Like that puts you at the low. In my opinion, if you're that type of fan, you're the bottom of the barrel. It's not necessary. It's bullying, and that was the big problem. And some of these players don't know how to handle it. We go back to the Jalen Reagor situation years ago, that he was constantly having to turn off his social media, but then he'd turn it back on because social media is such an addiction. It's a shame for these players, and it can ruin players' careers. Put Gainwell behind a different O-line, and he'll lose his job. Jason, it's fantastic. I mean, true. A lot of running backs will lose. A lot of running backs will look great behind this offensive line and look bad elsewhere. Look at Miles. Look, think about it this way. I said it was going to be very hard for the Eagles to replace Miles Sanders' 1,300 yards of rushing, 11 touchdowns last year. Haven't skipped a beat this year with Kenneth Gainwell and DeAndre Swift. And Miles Sanders goes to Carolina and gets benched. Like, just think about that. Like, any running back, and that's why we don't spend on running backs. Because when you have an offensive line and when your core philosophy is build a great offensive line and then watch the rest fall into place, I mean, you're never going to. DeAndre Swift might not get a contract and be here next year. He's a free agent after this year. He's going to want bigger money. They might not give it to him. They might just rotate in another cheap piece. Because when you've got this offensive line, anybody can cook behind it. Anybody can look like an all-pro. Miles got benched for chewing gum. Yeah, chubba hubba hubba. I don't even like it. It's shocking. We'll just say that. Please activate Lou Nichols, a running back. I don't know who that is, Clifton, but I appreciate your comment. Brian checking in. If you're basing his snaps on last year or who his cousin is, you're hurting the team. It's a difficult balance, I'm sure, for the coaches dealing with all the egos, but Gainwell is a liability. And look, he's a liability, but the one thing we keep getting told as fans is that Kenneth Gainwell is this great pass blocker. Well, now 2 weeks in a row, we've seen Kenneth Gainwell miss his assignments on blitzes, on blitz pickups. So the one thing he is supposed to do well, he's not. And that's even more shocking on the Kenneth Gainwell part of it, is that he has one trait that DeAndre Swift doesn't, but he's even failing in that aspect. And I wonder if the lack of Kenneth Gainwell's success right now, the lack of success he's having in the red zone or his usage or the fans are getting at him is causing him to lose focus. Hence why he shouldn't be on his phone at halftime. And I wonder if they find a way to get his confidence built up a little bit more. Because again, we can say all this about Kenneth Gainwell. The team's going to keep running him out there. Whether we like it or not, they like him. And he is going to continue to get touches week in and week out. So they've got to find a way to build his confidence up. And maybe that's part of the reason why Nick Sirianni didn't fine him, suspend him. Maybe he gave him a bigger tongue lashing in private than he let on through the media. Nick Sirianni is definitely not the type of guy to call out his players publicly. But maybe something was done privately behind closed doors there. But if they're going to continue to trot him out there and have him play 30, 40% of the snaps, maybe find a week that you think he can have a positive week and just up him. Give him even more snaps. I know that's not what we want because we want to see more DeAndre Swift. But maybe if you find a way to get his confidence going quicker or earlier or sooner rather than later, maybe all the other things that he's failing at, like pass blocking right now, start to pick up as well. Build confidence up and see what happens. I don't know if I'm onto something here with this or not. I don't know. Because, again, I don't want to take carries away from and touches away from DeAndre Swift. Absolutely not. But if they're going to use him 40% of the snaps, if they're going to use him every 30 out of every 40 plays, you got to find a way to build him up. You do. Gainwell will be better once he gets that good big run and will be on top. I think he's one of those players who can wipe out off the BS with a bit of success. And that's kind of, Duck, what I'm getting at here. Find a way to have him get a 30-yard touchdown run. Get him going. Get him. Where the screen? We've got Kenneth Gainwell and DeAndre Swift, two smaller, very quick, elusive running backs. Where are the straight running back screens? Get Jordan Mailata and Jason Kelsey out in front of Kenneth Gainwell. Let him catch a screen and just break one. And guess what? He'll fire the football down. He'll make a first down celebration. He'll be all fired up. Then all of a sudden the confidence starts picking up. Everything starts ticking in the right direction. Can I ask where the running back screens have been? Like, we run these bubble screens nonstop and they don't work all the time. Tight end bubble screens, wide receiver bubble screens, running back bubble screens, and they have a very low success rate with the Eagles. Yet you've got DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell and even Boston Scott. And I don't think I've seen a single screen pass run this entire season. You got guys like Jordan Mailata and Jason Kelsey and Landon Dickerson that are built to block on screen passes, that just love to run downfield and just clobber guys. Yet you don't run the play. What is up with that? Screen pass have not worked for us for the last 2 years. They haven't worked because they haven't made a commitment to try and run in them. I'm sitting here thinking about the Brian Westbrook era, the Darren Sproles era, the LaShawn McCoy era, basically the Andy Reid era. We ran so many screen passes back then with success, and we had a similar traded offensive line. Big guys that love to run block. Run blockers love screen blocking as well because they're very similar. That is a Desai problem. No screen. I'm sorry, Brian. Maybe I missed. Why is the defensive coordinator responsible for no screen? That would be a Brian John. Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, Brian. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, am I missing something here? Like, I'm like, well, I'm a little confused here. I know I haven't had a full cup of coffee yet, but I'm like, what is going on here? It is part of the play calling, but it's also part of the. So Brian Johnson is calling the plays, but Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni are building the offensive game plan on a weekly basis. Why aren't they building it into the game plan? Why isn't Nick Sirianni saying, Brian, I think a screenplay could work. We've got the Bulls to run it. Why not? It seems like a play that should be, with all the pieces that we have, all the pieces of the puzzle that we have, it seems like a play that should be very, very effective. But it's not. And I don't understand why. Even the running back screens have not been very successful. I think they have used it like 3, 4 times, and they only had one for better than 3 yards. The running back bubble screens I've seen, and that don't work. I don't know. We hear all this about DeAndre Swift out of the backfield is going to be a receiving threat, and he hasn't been majorly. I don't know. There's some, it's, and that and we talked about earlier in the show is Brian Johnson out of the doghouse, or how will he do it? We got to see some more creativity from this offense. It can't just be Jalen Hurts drops back and throws. Well, it actually can be Jalen Hurts drops back and just throws to AJ Brown all the time, because yeah, I mean that works too. I mean it does work. Desai's problem is Slay and Bradbury. We'll get back to the defense in a bit. We have talked about it a little bit already, but yes, Slay and Bradbury have to be better, but so does the defensive line. They have to get after the quarterback. They have to wrap up better. They do. There's a lot that has to be. There's so much that has to be better, but we're on the cusp of being 8-1. I hate to put it this way. Maybe Hurts is a bit slow on getting those screen passes out. I have to look at it. Doug, you don't have to say you hate to put it this way. I would really need to see like a slowed down video footage, like somebody that runs a. That's something like that we have to ask, like Shane Half or one of those guys, or Mr. Crockpot that does all the film breakdown, to do a video compilation of bubble screens and screen passes and really dive deep into the Jalen Hurts part of it. Look, some quarterbacks are better throwing a deep ball than a short route. Maybe Jalen Hurts just doesn't feel comfortable with those short little passes. I don't know. I haven't seen enough. I haven't zoned in. And now, because you say that, Duck, just so you know, on Sunday I will be looking very closely at those plays that are run, the bubble screens and whatnot, to see how Jalen Hurts gets rid of the ball. I am. And the other part of it, maybe some of these plays would have worked if we don't always get called for an ineligible man downfield. The dumbest rule in football, or one of the dumb rules in football. Your lineman goes out to block on a screen, and if he gets 1 yard too far downfield, flag, flag, call. I think we own the only team that it gets called on. Although I did see Washington get called for it, I think last week. You are right. I am always right. We could hurt teams real bad with it. I really think we could. We've got the horses. We do. We got 5 Clydesdale horses that can run block and screen block, but we don't use them. I was watching the quarterback school YouTube, and Hurts is a bit inconsistent with his timing and timing passes. Yeah, it's definitely so. If anything, everyone always said like Jalen Hurts over the middle. Jalen Hurts' timing on short passes, slant routes, quick passes definitely could get better. Is he perfect at it? No. Is he bad at it? No. But it's definitely one of the areas that he does seem to struggle from time to time. The timing there, which is kind of interesting, because he seems like a guy that's always on the same page with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Very rarely, we had that one interception very early in the season where there was a miscommunication with, I think it was actually DeAndre Swift, who was still new at the time, where he thought that he would go one way and he went the other, and he just threw the ball on a timing route, and he was in the wrong spot, so it got picked off. But you would think with the attention to detail that Jalen Hurts has, timing wouldn't be an issue. But for some reason, it is. It just seems the cornerbacks are the most glaring bad at the worst time. See, you know what? I'm just going to say it. Like, I don't agree that the cornerbacks. I mean, I know everybody wants to talk that the cornerbacks haven't been great this year, and they haven't been elite. Like last year, we were saying we had the best cornerback duo in football in Slay and Bradbury, and they haven't been the best duo this year. I get that. I know that, but I think too much is put on the cornerbacks not being as good. We're 7-1. They haven't made a lot of big interceptions. They kept Tyreek Hill in check. Kept Terry McLaurin in check last week, even though he had a drop or two, Terry McLaurin, which they kept him in check. They kept Justin Jefferson in check. They kept the Rams in check. They kept the Buccaneers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in check. Do the Patriots even have a wide receiver? I don't. I think too much is being made of the cornerback struggle this year because they've kept the elites pretty much in check. Now the defense as a whole has given up yardage. Yes, they've gotten burned on a few big plays, but as a whole package, I kind of think that they haven't been as bad as we let on. We remember the big plays. We don't remember all the plays in between the big plays that they did their job. A lot of those screens come out fast to the receivers. They do. A lot of teams that run RPOs have that ineligible man downfield. They do, and it's just stupid. Let them run wherever they want. Like I don't understand why you can't let your lineman run wherever they want. I don't think his timing with Smith this season. He's been throwing him high or behind. Yeah, it's been off for sure. The thing I fear most about Sunday is the refs determining the outcome of the game. Too obvious in many games this season throughout the league. The reffing in sports in general has just been atrocious lately. Baseball, basketball, football. Over the last few years, refereeing and umpiring has gone downhill massively. Not everyone agrees, but I think we beat the brakes off of Dallas. I think Hurts would like to end the Dak comparisons. I feel it's been way too long since we dusted them. Well, we've barely beaten them recently anyway. So I really hope. I'm really confident. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think we'll dust them, so to say, but I do think that we have the clear, distinct advantage Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. I think pretty much every position up and down the team, we are better. We have a better offense. We have a better defense, better quarterback, better coach. The intangibles clearly are in the favor of the Eagles. I think it's a trust issue with his receivers. You can see the difference when you watch Tua versus Hurts. Tua throws to a spot. Hurts waits just a hair. You might be onto something, Duck. You might be, but I also feel like it's kind of confusing that even might be a remote possibility because him and AJ Brown are like best friends. They work out all offseason. The connection should, the trust should be there. Devontae Smith is getting overshadowed by AJ Brown, obviously again, but he's an elite wide receiver. It's not his first year. Him and Dallas Goedert have been together for a few years. The trust and the connection should be there. It's not all the time, but it should be. And it's very confusing to me that it's not. Real quick, we're going to do our hard reset here. It's 9 a.m. in the morning here. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I am your host, Phil Stiefel. Please, please, please like, share, follow, subscribe, turn those notifications on. It is free to do it. We got 14 likes on YouTube right now, 4 on Facebook. Pound those like and share buttons for me. Let's bring everybody into the equation here as we get the final 30 minutes of Dallas Sucks Week wrapped up before we make our predictions, before we go through the NFL slate of games and make our random on the spot. I don't even know. I don't look. I do it on the spot. So that's that. Back to the comments here as we do this show. Dak has been in that quarterback position while we have gone through 3 starting quarterbacks in the same time period. That level of consistency. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't hate on Dak. I hate him Dallas week, but I'm a Dak supporter. I think in another situation, Dak Prescott might have been a better quarterback, maybe would have had a better career, but stuck in Dallas, he is what he is. And he'll be an enemy as long as he's stuck in Dallas. And I don't know if he stays in Dallas very long. They got Trey Lance now. So Trey Lance might be the guy next year. I don't know what's going to happen with Dak Prescott going forward. But if Dak Prescott goes somewhere else, I might be able to actually firmly support him. I don't get fans that are shocked when the opposition makes plays. This is a competitive football, folks. Those guys practice all week too. The Eagles are elite. I love that. I love that. I love that comment, Keith. I think it's not like other teams are just going to roll over and play dead for the Eagles, right? They're not just going to say, "Oh yeah, you're the better team on paper. Go ahead, just beat our pants off." Yeah, they're trying to win too. Look, the Raiders, who stink and are cleaning house and bench their quarterback and this and that, so they're going to try to win. The Cardinals, who are tanking for Caleb Williams, are trying to win. The Giants, who are done this season, could just go wherever, but they're going to run out Tyrod Taylor and try to win. Every team tries to win every single week. And they're not, they put the work in too. They're looking for contract, everything. Love this comment from you there, Keith. I do. He trusts Brown the most. That's why he's been getting the lion's share. And Brown is kind of like a lion. He's the king of the jungle or whatever you want to say. AJ Brown gets the bulk of the share because he's AJ freaking Brown, the NFC Player of the Month, maybe the Offensive Player of the Year, an outside shot at an MVP type season if he keeps this rate up. I mean, I know everybody's talking about AJ Brown a lot, but are they talking about him enough? He's literally having one of the greatest wide receiver stretches I have ever seen in the history of football. And I'm 42, almost 43, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like what AJ Brown's done the last 6 weeks. And we got to watch T.O. here. You know, I caught the end of Mike Quick's career. You know, I've never seen this before. This is AJ Brown is putting up the type of performance, maybe not the numbers per se, but the type of domination that Randy Moss had with Tom Brady, that 50 touchdown season that Tom Brady had. That's the kind of dominance that AJ Brown is putting on these last 6 weeks. Like, it's insane. I've never seen anything like this. Dak comparison is not an insult. No, Dak, you're not. I'm not going to disagree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Vegas or the Giants next year. Well, it would be very hard for me to comprehend them trading him to the Giants next year. But the Raiders, I could see for sure. There's a couple teams that whoever misses out on Caleb Williams could be, but I feel like they will move on from him at the end of the season. You know, even the Jets brought it to us. Everybody's going to always bring it to us because we got that big target on our back. We're the NFC champs. We're the favorites to get back to the Super Bowl. Everyone's going to bring their A game to us. No matter, they're never going to roll over and play dead to us. Why? Because we're the Eagles, and everybody hates the Eagles, and we don't care. What's up, Clifton? Lashley. Check out highlights on Lou Nichols, 5'10", 222, Central Michigan running back, drafted 2023, waived by Green Bay. Eagles signed him week 6. So I guess he's on our practice squad. Don't know who he is. I'm writing his name down right now. I'm going to look him up after the show. Lou Nichols, 5'10". That's a small guy. Look, I know we bring guys in and off the practice squad a lot. So I must have missed this, and I don't know who he was. But you know, you're not going to see much changing. Like, everyone's like, when's Rashad Penny going to get his time? When's this? When's that? Your running backs, as long as they stay healthy, are Kenneth Gainwell and DeAndre Swift. They're not going to bring anybody up from the practice squad. You're probably never going to see Rashad Penny unless somebody gets hurt. And knock on wood, you don't want that. So, you know, whoever's on the practice squad, you know, what's his name? Trey Sermon was on the practice squad all last year, and I couldn't wait for him this year. And he didn't even make the roster. So the practice squad guys only really get that opportunity if somebody gets hurt or if they're a bad team. And the Eagles aren't a bad team. So practice squad guys are going to get very, 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 very few opportunities here in Philadelphia because of that. Penny can't pass block. Penny can't get on the field. I mean, they haven't used him. And maybe there's a game plan to use him down the line. Maybe they're saving him. Maybe they're protecting him for the stretch run. Maybe they want him to be the J.H.I. of the 2017 run. I don't know. But in my opinion, Rashad Penny probably won't see the field all season. I mean, he just probably won't. Because you've got two guys in DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell who the team loves, who's getting the bulk of the carries. And when you've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and now Julio Jones and Dallas Goedert, there's only so many mouths that you could feed. And I think we see what this offense is going to be for the rest of the year, barring injuries. And that's the whole key to the rest of the season, the whole key to this stretch, this gauntlet run here. Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Dallas, Seattle. It's getting out of the next 6 games over the next 7 weeks relatively unscathed. We talked about yesterday, would we want to see them go 4-2, 3-3, whatever, in that stretch, would be okay with it, whatnot. But it's going 3-3 and coming out unscathed and healthy is almost as good as going 4-2 and losing a player for the rest of the season. I mean, like getting out of this stretch run healthy and having that one seed locked up, it's all that matters. So that's that. I guess it's almost time to even say to bring back up the point from yesterday that it is still a must-win game too for the Eagles. We all feel overly confident. We all feel eerily confident as well that they're just gonna, you know, boat race these Cowboys. But we still gotta do it, and we still gotta win it, and it is must win. Real quick, let me switch this screen here on my side screen. Let me bring up the games this week. I'll do my typical predict every game, and yes, the Steelers won last night over the Titans at home. Again, a Thursday night football game going to the home team. Got to use Dallas Goddard. I'm assuming DG means Dallas Goddard, Teresa. But yes, and I'm so excited that you've been hanging in there and watching this whole show. Always welcome in the comments section. Um, yeah, you got to get Dallas Goddard more involved for sure. He's got to watch the drops. This Gainwell suspended this game. I haven't heard anything about Gainwell. I saw somebody drop a rumor. It didn't really pick up any steam or anything like that. I don't think he's suspended. And he's playing. Now maybe they make a statement by not playing him as much. But yeah, he's playing. All right, so this week's games. Let's go through the NFL real quick here. The schedule this week, and we've got a game in Frankfurt, Germany, Deutschland. Um, you got probably the game of the week at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday. The Miami Dolphins versus Kansas City in Germany. Kansas City is the favorite. I am going to take the Chiefs in the minus 1.5, just because that's a big deal going to Germany, and I think Patrick Mahomes has the better advantage in that situation than Tua. I think Sidney Brown has it. He's just green and finally starting to adjust. That's why I said at the beginning of the season on this show, Brian, just had to let him, ease him in. You didn't want him to go full bore right off the bat. Ease Sidney Brown in, and by the end of the season, you'd see what Sidney Brown is. And that's what we're doing right now. We're seeing it. We're seeing him slowly get better. All right, first 1 o'clock game on the slate. The Vikings travel to Atlanta, to the Atlanta Falcons, 2 4-4 teams. Atlanta's the 3.5 point favorite. I'm going to take Atlanta. I don't like Atlanta, but the Vikings with no Kirk Cousins and their quarterback situation, you got to go that way. The next game is Cardinals traveling to Cleveland. Cardinals are 1-7 now. Browns 4-3. Browns are 8 point favorites. I am going to take the Cardinals and the points, but the Browns do win that game. I don't buy the Browns. Their defense is really good. Their offense stinks. You never know who's going to be at quarterback or not. But the Cardinals are going to put up a fight, I think, on Sunday against the Browns. Then we got the Rams, Packers. Rams are 3-5. Packers are 2-5. Packers are 3 point favorites coming off their bye week, I believe. Man, it's hard, man. There's people already talking in Green Bay that Jordan Love isn't the answer. Um, and I don't know if he is the answer or not. I'm going to take the Rams and the 3 points. I know that's a shock. They might win that game, the Rams. Then you got the Commanders going to New England, 3-5 versus 2-6. New England's the favorite there. The Commanders just sold off half their defensive line. I'm going to go the Patriots and the points. I don't know why. I think it's two teams that have given up on the season. So I guess the home team gets the slight advantage, in my opinion. There, I don't know, but that's where I'm going in that game. Excuse me. Next, you got the 2-6 Bears going up the 4-4 Saints. The Saints are 8.5 point favorites. I guess I got to take the Saints because I don't know who the quarterback is even going to be for the Saints this week, or the Bears this week. The Saints have a chance at winning their division, I think. So interesting one there. Seahawks at Ravens. Ravens are 6 point favorites. West Coast going East Coast is much harder than East Coast going West Coast. I'm going to take the Ravens and the 6 points there. It's not that I don't. No. Seattle. I'm taking Seattle, and I'm taking the points, the +6. Saw something online. If you're better, and I forget the exact number, but I saw somebody put a stat up about what Carroll, head coach of the Seahawks, what his record is as a dog. and his team covers so frequently when they're the underdog. So it's like a huge percentage that he covers, Pete Carroll, when his team's an underdog. How does someone who holds the ball for 16, 18 we're getting into James Harden. We'll get into James Harden. We'll wrap the show up with James Harden being an idiot in a few minutes. Yes, I will get to that. I have to get to that for sure. So that's a great point, and we'll bring that back up in a few minutes. Let me finish firing through here. Texans at home, 3-point favorites over the Buccaneers. Wow, I can't believe the Texans are actually favored in that. 2, 3, and 4 teams. I'm going to take the Bucs and the points. I think we see the Texans come down to earth. 3-5 Colts still with Gardner Minshew against the 1-6 Panthers. Panthers got their one win. Colts and the points I'm taking there. Then we get into the four. Oh, that was a 4 o'clock game. Next 4 o'clock game, Giants at Raiders. How do you pick? Rookie quarterback, new coach, interim all across the board for the Raiders. The Giants stink. I'm probably taking the Giants though, and plus 2 points there in Vegas. Eagles. We'll get to the Eagles prediction in a minute. They are still 3-point favorites. The Eagles. Bills. Bengals is Sunday Night Football game of the week. That's a fantastic game. Bengals are 2-point favorites, and I'm taking the Bengals plus 2. Sorry, Mad Chatter, you're not watching or commenting today. The Bengals are going to smoke the Bills on Sunday Night Football. You heard it here first. I'm looking at 10 plus points that the Bengals are going to win on Sunday night over the Bills. The Bills are about time to refresh in Buffalo there. Let's see here. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had the hard-hitting safety. Um, it has been. I mean, I guess Malcolm Jenkins was the last guy. I guess. I don't even care. Like, I know a hard-hitting safety, it's kind of like sex sells. Hard-hitting safety sells. A hard-hitting safety means your defense is better because you lower the boom. Like, honestly, I could care less about how hard the safety hits, as long as they make the plays. I think it's an overrated trait. And it's fun. It's cool to have a safety that lowers the boom or anybody that lowers the boom. But in today's day and age where they're protecting players more and more, the more you lower the boom, the more at risk you are of, getting thrown a flag, a penalty. So, you know, I'm not worried about that. It's kind of almost to an extent overrated. I'm writing this down because I think this is something to put out on social media. Boom, hit, safety. I love that. They are legislating the hard hits out of the game. Exactly, Keith. And that's why it doesn't really do anything for me anymore. Like, it's cool. It's great. But does it matter? I don't think it does. Yes, Wembanyama had his coming out party last night against Phoenix. 38. I saw the highlight reel this morning when I woke up. I think it was like the second thing I saw on social media this morning when I was getting ready for work was the Wembanyama highlights. And back to this real quick. We'll get back to football. We'll wrap up and make my predictions in a few moments here. James Harden, man. Marshawn, do you know any Clippers fans? Do you know any Clippers podcasters, content creators, media members? I got to talk to somebody in Clipperland because the crap that he is spewing out there. Like, do Clippers actually think that he's the difference maker right now? Like, the things he said. We had him on a leash. He had a sacrifice and this and that. Oh, my God. It's nauseating, the things that James Harden is saying. The awkwardness of James Harden there is nauseating. Like, James Harden just dug himself a hole here in Philly and just made the hole even bigger once he got out to LA. Like, I can't get behind any opinion or any way thinking that anybody in LA actually thinks that James Harden is going to deliver them even a conference championship. Like, there are people out there saying that trio of Harden, Leonard, and Paul George is who's going to stop them. Well, the same people that have been stopping James Harden for the last 10 years, 15 years. James Harden is not it. And he's not even young anymore to does he think that they're going to take the leash off? Is he going to ball dominant over Paul George and Kawhi Leonard? Like seriously, he went from Philly where he was the second option behind Joel Embiid to now going to LA where he's the third, maybe fourth option behind Russell Westbrook. It's insane, Marshawn. Complete insanity. Eric, what is up? Good morning to you. We're talking Eagles. We're making our predictions here. Marshawn wanted to bring a little Sixers, James Harden bashing to the equation here at the last second. So we are obliging, and why not? Because he's a freaking idiot, James Harden. I don't understand what James Harden thinks he's going to accomplish by what he's saying out there in LA. And more power to the Sixers. They're all handling it the right way. I will say that Joel Embiid was quoted saying after he heard what James Harden said, Joel Embiid's response to James Harden being on a leash here, basically saying he touched the ball every single possession. So, I love it. But you know what? The drama's behind us, Marshawn, and you bringing up James Harden and whatnot. It's great. It's funny. We can make jokes and etc. But I don't know about you, but I'm so glad that I don't have to discuss it, think about it, and talk about it and worry about it anymore. James Harden's gone. Done. Hasta Viego, whatever. He's gone. He's out of here. Imagine the player you brought in to get everyone involved says, I'm not a system player. I am the system. I mean, maybe you were the system when you were 25 years old. But you ain't 25 years old. You're 35 years old now. You've clearly lost a step. It's insane. Dude, we're going to run James Ash right to the bench with an oxygen tank. Look, James Harden, can I say, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I didn't think about this. This is completely off the cuff. James Harden does not finish the season playing for the Los Angeles Clippers. Not because he gets traded, because he gets frustrated, he's not happy, and they either bench him and send him home, or he benches himself and says, I want out. This will be the only season that he is in LA. He will not stay there, he will not be there, and he will not be playing come playoff time for the Los Angeles Clippers for one reason or another. Just going to say it right now. Done. I'm over it. Eric, with the first prediction of the show. I think this is the first prediction. Start dropping your Eagles predictions. We got 10, 12 minutes left in the show. I want to see your predictions. 33-21. Eagles win. I can see that. All four of my predictions I have written down here all have the Eagles scoring north of 30. Now, I think Dallas can score north of 30 as well, or we can hold them in check. Well, we'll see. I do have a 31-21 as one of my options written down. Hasta la Beardsta. I had to think it out before I said it there. Hasta la Beardsta. Look, it's insane. Kawhi on the Harden trade. I was in bed when it happened. I guess excited. I know there's a writer's strike, but you can't write a better story. Kawhi is a weird dude, man. I would love to be inside of Kawhi's head and hear what he's really thinking behind the curtain in his brain there of this whole thing. Because you can't imagine that he's happy. You just can't. Like, I don't know. It's insane. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, Marshawn. I know I always say whatever's on your mind, your opinions matter. But, man, I'm so over James Harden right now that I don't even want to talk about it. I'd rather talk about how good they looked last year. The honeymoon will be over the moment Kyrie Irving snatches James' soul again. Huh. Kyrie Irving, he's playing down there in Dallas, right? Yeah, I think so. Luka looks pretty good from what I've heard in his first 4 or 5 games of the season. So, whatever. I'm focused on the Philly teams. I'm over James Harden. I'm focused on the Eagles. What are the keys to victory on Sunday for the Eagles versus Dallas? Obviously, turnover differential is not important because we're 7-1 and one of the worst teams in the turnover differential category. But I think that would catch up to us. So I think, again, key to victory is having more snaps on offense than defense for this team. And I keep saying the time of possession, it's a cliche thing, but it's not just time of possession. It's the more snaps. It's having 65 plays to their 45 plays. It's having 80 plays to their 65 plays. It's not winning time of possession by 2 minutes. It's winning time of possession by 5-10 minutes. Massive key. Massive key Number 2, keeping CeeDee Lamb contained. Give him a stat line like Tyreek Hill. That is so key, so crucial for this game. And I want to see one clean game from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was amazing last week, but he did have a turnover. I need a game turnover free from Jalen Hurts. I don't care if the running backs fumble, whatever. I need Jalen Hurts not to turn the football over. So key for me. Eagles 31-20. Guys, I love the positivity, and I'm positive too, but I just don't know if the Eagles can win by double digits against Dallas. Dallas is a great team still. We're the better team, but Dallas is still a great team. What can we get for Rocco? He saw 50 seconds of playing time. You weren't going to see much, if any, of the new guys. Nick Nurse had said that already. I wouldn't be surprised if Rocco's starting on Saturday, their next game. They're going to have another practice today with the new guys. They barely ran any sets with the team yesterday in shoot around. So I'm going to say that you're going to see Rocco starting and playing 20 minutes a game coming down to the end here. Phil is about to predict an Eagles loss. Marshawn Lynch. One of my 4 predictions that I haven't decided upon yet is an Eagles loss, just so you know. But I'm not going to predict. I would never. I will predict an Eagles win every single week. They could be 0-16, and I would still predict an Eagles win for the show purposes. Run the ball at Micah. There you go. I like it. Eliminating Micah from the game, containing him. That's key number 3. Whether it's running the ball at him, wherever he is lined up, if he's lining up over Tyler Steen, sliding protection to help him, keeping Micah Parsons off of Jalen Hurts' shoulders and back is key number 3. So important to do that. And if you do all that, you're going to get a win. So you guys are all predicting these double-digit wins. So I've written down 4 scores. Yes, one of them was 38-35 Dallas. It was. One of them was 31-21, close to what you guys are predicting Eagles win. But I've got 2 close scores, and I keep zoning in on my 2 close predictions. I got a 31-30 Eagles victory and a 35-31 Eagles victory. All these are high-scoring games. And I think that one thing that we can understand is while the Eagles defense is shaky at times, they're still a really good defense. But even though they're a really good defense, they're still going to give up points because we're playing a great offense here. So I'm looking. Oh my gosh! Wow, 44-6. You think the Eagles are going to lose to Dallas, Marshawn? Oh my God, 44-6 Eagles. So you're saying the Eagles are going to get 6? Well, I'm just kidding with you. I know what you're saying. Marshawn, I'll bet you a pizza that is not the final score. I will bet you a pizza that the Eagles do not hold the Cowboys to only 6 points. That is an easy bet right there for me. Dallas is a high-powered offense. They're going to score 28-35 points without a doubt, in my opinion. 44-6 Eagles win. I know. I was just giving you a hard time there, my man. Reality check. What is up this morning? 32-17. We got a lot of people predicting double-digit wins. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit nervous. That's why I'm looking at a 31-30 score. Like, I want to say the Eagles cover the 3 points, win 35-31. I think this is going to be a nail biter. 425. We never even bitched about it or complained about it. Sorry about my French. It's going to be dark at kickoff almost. It's daylight savings Saturday night to Sunday morning. Does anybody else hate daylight savings ending on Saturday night as much as I do? Like, I hate it. I hate daylight savings ending. Just leave it as is. Like, please. It's going to, by next week, it's going to be dark at 5 p.m. every single day. And I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. So much. I hate it more than I hate winter. I hate daylight savings ending. Leave daylight savings all the time. Please. I hate it. Can we end this? Man, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm thinking 31-27 or 20. I would lean closer to 31-27. I just think it's going to be an offensive explosion type game. So that has the higher score. So I like that prediction a little bit more. Shady said, don't be surprised if this gets out of hand. It could. It could get out of hand either way. It really could. Chuck saying 31-27 Eagles. I like the 31. You got a couple people saying 31-27. I like the 31-point number for the Eagles. I do. I really do. It is way too much to type in this 100-character box, so just take my word. Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, do you guys get limited on how much you can type in the comments? I don't know. Dak, 2 to 3 interceptions. That would be fantastic if that happened. Can you imagine the Dallas Cowboys crybabies if they lost and Dak had a bad game? And then in 6 weeks when we play them again, they'll be all we got at this time nonstop. I don't think we win by more than one score. I don't even think we win by a score, Duck. I think it's a really, really close game. That would mean we would double our picks this season on just Dak. Yeah, exactly. Kudos to the states who don't do daylight savings. Are there states that don't do daylight savings? Didn't know that. I thought it was a nationwide thing. It shows how little I know about our country. Um, you only get 100 characters. Had no clue. I'm learning new things every day here in this show. All right, we're settling on it. I'm saying 31-30. Eagles win. Close nail biter, and either the Eagles have to score late, a late Jake Elliott field goal. Maybe they're down 30-28. Jake Elliott kicks the game-winning field goal, or the Eagles are up 31-30, and Dak Prescott throws a late pick. One or the other is going to happen. It's going to be a nail biter on Sunday. It's going to end around 7:30. We're going to be stressing. I'm going to be shaking on the edge of my seat. Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. Learn something new every day. Maybe I'm moving to Arizona now. Notice all comments aren't a book. I love that. I do love it. It's hard to read books on the air, but I didn't know there was a limit. I just thought you guys like to have short, quick comments. Kevin Byard is Dak's slot wide receiver. I like that comment. I do. It's time for Kevin Byard to have his big welcome to Philly moment this week. Jalen will not let this team lose in the brightness of the lights. He has one loss on the biggest stage, but it was the response that got us the 10-point lead at halftime after the fumble. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jalen, I'll take Jalen over Dak and his leadership ability all day and Sunday. Shout out to Phil for learning new things. I'm a lifetime learner. What's that cliche? Yeah, I'm learning for life. That is me. That is what we do. But I'm going 31-30. Eagles win with either a late pick to seal the game or a Jake Elliott field goal to win the game late. It's going to be a nail biter, guys. It's going to come down to the wire. And Monday, when we kick off bye week, which I don't know what next week's shows are going to be like. Monday will obviously be recapping the game. But with it being a bye week, I'm going to try to flip it around a little bit. Try to bring in some Sixers writers, some Flyers writers, some Phillies writers, some Eagles, or some report. I've already put it out there to Team Philadelphia Sports Network, and make sure you check out all their coverage all weekend long of everything going on. PhillySportsNetwork.com. Going to try to bring on a lot of the writers from Philly Sports Network for a little 15, 20-minute segments to talk about the teams that they're covering. So there'll be a lot of different stuff going on next week on this show, hopefully. Maybe I'll try to find some outside guests as well. But, Monday we will be talking about a nail biter of a game. Dak has all the statistics, and you can argue he can make all the throws. The difference is Jalen has proven he packs his nuts for big games and winner thus far. Let's freaking go 44-6. Dude, I love the confidence, Marshawn, and I think that's a perfect comment to start the wrap up and end this show for the week. Dallas Sucks week ends right here for the week. We'll be back Monday, but make sure you hit that like button. We only got up to 16 likes today, 5 on Facebook, so pound that like button if you're watching on replay. I check all the comments on the replays too, and I respond to them all too. So everybody have a great day. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, that follow button. Big things coming here, man. Year 3 of Trending in the AM begins. So everybody have a great day. Send those boys to the gulag. I think it's the second time a gulag has been mentioned today on the show. Dallas sucks. Go Birds. I love it, Kyle. I love it. Everybody have a great day. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Don't forget to set those clocks back because that's a stupid thing, but it happens anyway. Everybody have a great day. Everybody have a great weekend. Go Birds. Beat those Cowboys 31-30. That is my final prediction. You heard it here first, right here. $500 super chat. Still, shout out to Adam for the $20 super chat today. Greatly appreciated. The comments were kind of quiet today with no TMC. Wonder what happened there. Chuck, you have a great day. Thank you as always for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you guys in the comment section. Guys, have a great weekend. Go Birds.